Hello, Mech fans. This is Duncan Fisher. Hold on firmly to your mana potions, fireballs, and familiars, because you are tuning in to your regularly scheduled episode of the First Circuit Podcast.
Hello and welcome everyone to the First Circuit Podcast, episode number 113,000. We have our regular host today, me, Biter, our pink fluffy unicorn over there, Ian.
Pink fluffy unicorn.
Dancing on rainbows. Old Bob.
Hey guys.
And Lars has returned.
Yay!
Hello, people. I was here last week too.
Yes. It's just always amazing when you're here.
Special
Yeah.
guest.
And for today's topics, we have MWO, still alive, a patch, and community efforts. Mechwarrior 5 Dev Update number 2. MEKTek is returning, maybe? And Battletech Kickstarter Wave 1 has finished. And maybe we'll cover Mechwarrior Living Legends, our first impressions. So, first, MWO. Things happened at MWO, kind of, not really.
They're there. I mean, they're happening a little bit.
Yeah. There's a patch. I don't think I even looked at it though. I'm looking at it now though. Yeah.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
Yes. Okay, well, I know I saw it when it first came out. It's nothing too big. I would say one of the big things I saw people actually commenting about is that now you can add a favorites filter for patterns, decals, bolt-ons, and you can now randomize your paint scheme. So I would say out of all the things, that was probably the big one I saw people on Twitter talking about, actually.
I'm actually gonna say, like, all of this is quality of life. There's nothing major in here.
Yeah.
But what I really like is the skill tree improvement, where they renamed one button, but they changed the apply changes button to buy skill points, which I think it's minor, but it's also so big because for new people who don't know about the system, they are now finally aware that they're buying something, they're spending money on this. So it's just one of those tiny quality of life things that are hopefully going to have a big impact.
I mean, most
Yeah,
likely.
I like that change.
Yeah. Most likely.
Beyond that, they've had some minor improvements and minor bug fixes. Solaris has ended. Yay.
Yay.
And they exchanged the trial mechs yet again. Are there any interesting trial mechs in there that you really recommend people? I mean, I'm seeing the Kodiak 3. Anything else that's really good?
So, just a thing to mention was, of course, we had the Trial Mech Challenge event along with them changing the trial mechs. That was a special event. That was a special time in MWO.
People just taking all the trial mechs out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for the event, it was you had to get a kill or KMDD with that trial mech. With not necessarily it had to be a trial mech, but with a champion mech. So if you happened to own the champion, it meant you could run a real build. Otherwise, you had to take out a trial, and you get a kill with it or a KMDD, which is quite hard with quite a lot of the trials. And they also had fairly big rewards for if you completed all the trial mechs on one faction. So if you did all the clan mechs and all the inner sphere mechs, you get a whole bunch of MC in one big dose. Yeah, that was a fun time because half of every team were trial mechs, and usually victories are determined by who had the least trial mechs on their side.
Yeah.
Also, we came across some funny things, or at least I did, which was I think like the Shadowcat, it was get KMDD in it with it and do 1 damage with a large pulse laser. Now it turned out this was an inner sphere large pulse laser. So I was like, 1 damage with large pulse laser, easy peasy. I'll throw it on one random mech and I'll do it. It's like, guys, I didn't get 1 damage with a large pulse laser. How did you manage that?
Yeah, it's impossible.
I failed to scratch someone. Well, it's because for some reason the clan side it required you to use an inner pulse laser. So, I think they just incorrectly put the values in there.
But this is a really, really cool event. I think this is probably the coolest event I've seen in a while.
It's at least something it's something different.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just with the dwindling player base, all the different tiers being meshed together, and people running around in trial mechs, people were extra potato. And some mechs are really tough to get a kill KMDD with. I mean, somewhat maybe the Spider or the Panther, which is 2 PPCs or a single ER large laser and 4 machine guns.
Mm.
It's not impossible, but it's just, yeah, you have to put in a lot of work. And that Panther loves losing its arm.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
just running around, just like, I can't do anything.
Yeah, especially like since that's going to be one of your light mechs on the field, and being a champion mech, not going to do too well.
I just found, generally speaking, because everyone's in trial mechs or less competent, it was just sort of one-on-one fights most of the time. So if you were a light, you actually could just run around and harass, and nobody would really stop you. I had actually one really awful match on Mining Collective in the King Crab, where I'm pushing up in the center and I'm on the front, and somebody had jumped up on top of the buildings and was alpha striking my behind, and my whole team could see like probably lasers or something, flying across and hitting me in the back, and nobody did anything. So I'm trying to push the enemy front line, and I'm trying to guard my rear. And just like, there's nowhere that's safe. I'm trying to beat the front line. There's no front line.
Welcome to the game.
Yes.
But the new event that's coming up, though, is the Solaris 7 Season 8 kickoff event that lasts a whole month.
Yep, it's the usual Solaris 7 event, I'm pretty sure. You can grind this with a friend or two, just get a victory in every single division, get a bunch of MC, get kills in every in 1v1s or 2v2s, etc., just get MC. Lots and lots of MC available, plenty of time to do it. Get you and a friend on it and slowly grind away at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as usual, the most difficult part is you actually need to find 4 people to play Solaris because you need to do 2v2s.
Yep.
So I'm gonna hope all of you have at least 3 friends.
Or just do them on Fridays when most people are on, and hope for the best.
Can you find Solaris games even on a Friday?
I haven't tried in a long
I
time,
haven't
so I
seen
cannot say.
any activity in Solaris even on Fridays.
I mean, to tell you the truth, I haven't looked. I haven't played that mode for months. I mean, I think last time we just walked in going, oh, this is cool, and walked away.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, I don't think there's anything left on Solaris except for a couple guys that love it, type thing. And which is fine, man. If they love it, that's cool.
They just love fighting each other, both
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
They just fight each other to the end of time.
I mean, granted, like I did like Solaris. I just wish they would have kept doing things with it because people lost interest super quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Was there anything else to note from the patch notes? Because it was rather short.
Rather short, yeah.
Mostly just quality of
Yeah.
life.
Stay away from the catapult A1.
Okay.
Kind of the summary for.
Okay.
There was some faction play changes stuff. Did anyone see any of that? What's that about?
Faction play.
Yeah, the chat is now available for mercenaries and freelancers based on selected side during a conflict. Cadet title no longer displayed under pilot name on the inner sphere map screen.
Yeah, as mentioned, it's some minor quality of life,
Yeah,
and
minor.
what I would honestly consider bug fix more than really
Yeah.
change.
Okay. Nothing real exciting, to tell you the
No,
truth. Nothing like
nothing
we're bringing
really.
back this. We're gonna have planets have actually some meaning to it. That kind of stuff. They don't have
No.
that.
Nothing like that.
Maybe this
The only
year.
thing,
Sorry.
yeah. The only difference is somewhat like in prior months we would have nobody touching on MWO. This time there's at least somebody has spent a little bit of time touching
Yeah.
up
Mm.
MWO.
It was a two.
So it's a step up.
It was a
And
two
I
interns.
guess since we're talking about it, let's quickly talk about was 4 minutes of time during the dev update where they talked about Mechwarrior Online. And basically, the quote to take away is, there is no reason to worry at the moment. That's a direct quote from Was. And he didn't really address it. He kind of just went around it for 4 minutes. And he suggested that they would keep the game going, but he also clearly said they had no roadmap and plans active, and they're starting to look into what to do with Mechwarrior Online. So
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, starting now to look into.
He's basically sort of saying, hey, oh, all those people worry about MWO. Don't worry, I see you. I see you. Don't worry, it's all okay. I'm giving you a pat on the back. I know it exists. It's still going to keep going. And that's all I have to say for now.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said. I mean,
yeah,
Really?
that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
But the issue I have with this is Was is not the person I trust anymore with that kind of statement. When he says not to worry, I remember distinctly half a year ago, don't worry, we're not going Epic Store exclusive. What did we hear 2 days later?
Yeah.
We're going Epic Store exclusive. So,
well, you have to look at the breadcrumbs. You're looking at Bombadil and No Guts Galaxy being taken off from the payroll from PGI.
And Tina.
And
Yeah.
Tina too.
Tina.
I didn't know about that. Okay, Tina as well.
Tina was taken out too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the community manager for Mechwarrior Online, the community No Guts Galaxy be taken away. The basically the we're looking into it and we're don't worry about it.
I can have to interject one of the Reddit posts. You don't need a community manager when you don't have community.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, like I'm thinking probably his MechWarrior 5 franchise is kind of like what he's kind of bank on, basically as far as
Yes.
like MechWarrior
Yes.
Online.
As far as the company's concerned here, he was using Tina, part of MW5.
Yeah.
She was active in the Mechwarrior 5 Discord, working in the AMAs, etc., etc.
Mhm.
And they are trying to foster a community of Mechwarrior 5 with its modding community and whatnot. There was a place somewhat for a community manager, but obviously I have no clue. But it's interesting that they let her go nonetheless.
Wow, I did
What
not
I
know
also
that.
find really interesting is they let go all of their community managers, and I mean the Mechwarrior Online forums have been mostly dead for a while.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like they have any plans to do a Mechwarrior 5 forum. So I guess that partially explains why they don't need a community manager. If
Well, they have
don't plan
MechWarrior
on-
5, and they do have one actually.
They do have a
MechWarrior-
forum for Mechwarrior 5?
Yeah, yeah. If you look at it, they got one. It's kind of hidden away a little bit.
Oh, where? What is it on? Like an Epic Game Store or something?
No,
Or-
actually, like in the MechWarrior Online, there's a MechWarrior 5 forum.
Okay, there's
Yeah.
a section.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they
there's a
don't
section.
have a official like
No,
Mechwarrior
no,
5
no.
forum that's linked to the Mechwarrior 5 Mercs page.
No,
That's
no.
surprising still that they wouldn't have that.
Yeah, that's scary. That's the breadcrumbs that you're looking at. Basically, when you look at
Mhm.
different companies, Tina's gone, No Guts Galaxy's gone. We might be looking at it. We're having nothing to do with it right now. We're working on MechWarrior 5, that kind of thing. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? A year, 2 years before they shut down the servers?
I'd say it kind of depends on how they're feeling about it. I don't think they're gonna make much money with Mechwarrior Online at this point. I think at best they're gonna break even for a few more months. If they do a mech pack, maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly gonna come down to how much passion does the management that PGI have towards Mechwarrior Online,
Mhm.
and are they willing to probably take a loss to keep those servers running for many years?
Yeah,
least
because
the
we don't know the
implication-
actual cost of the actual server upkeep.
Yeah.
Yes.
At
We have
least
no
the-
idea what kind of infrastructure they have. We know it's going to be fairly massive because they're doing a lot of background and server-side stuff for Mechwarrior Online.
Yeah.
But we have no idea how much storage, bandwidth, processing power, whatever they buy. So
Yeah.
no way for us
Yeah.
to know.
The implication, at least with them doing the January patch notes, is that they do want to keep it churning along. And I think that what we've seen in prior AMAs is Russ talking about that he does want to keep the service of MWO on. And at least from the company's perspective, is as long as it can sort of break even, then it's better to keep it running than it is to take the negative hit to the PR, because at least there's a good amount of cross play and cross pollination between
Yeah.
the two games.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's my assumption is going to be that within the next few months we're going to see that they evacuate the building but leave the lights on. What?
I'm still waiting to see if we get any new players to the community, because on the times I have played, I have seen people say that, hey, I'm new.
Yeah.
new
Yes,
to the
I've
game.
seen
And
fair
I've
number.
seen people on the Reddit group and also the Facebook group I belong to that this game is still garnishing some newer players out there.
Hmm.
So I think it might all depend on, is a new player base still worth it? Is are they still coming in?
Yeah, and it's also regarding the new player, it's heavily going to depend on the known faces of the community, like you guys, Lars and Altbob. I think it's really going to come down to people streaming and doing videos.
Yeah.
Like those guys going onto Reddit, going onto the Facebook groups, and just kind of trying to pull people in. Because I don't think we're going to see much of. I mean, we've never seen PGI do much of that.
Mm-mm.
So I think in the future, even more now, it's going to really count on the content creators to keep the game going.
Actually, that's the problem though, because there's a couple content creators that are creating content. I think TTB is still doing content. Burial's still doing content for Mechwarrior Online. But in general, though, most of the content, the old, I guess people are doing not much for Mechwarrior Online. They're doing for Mechwarrior 5. They're doing for Battletech. They're doing for other different type of games that are out there now, and they kind of streamed away from that. There's still there's still a bunch of other streamers that are still playing, but I notice there's a lot of new streamers as well, which is good. I mean, that's a good sign. But everyone else is doing other games and everything.
Yeah, let's take this chance and do a quick call out. I know Friday nights have been kind of repopulated on Mechwarrior Online because a lot of streamers have come together and tried to revitalize group queue.
Yeah,
and from what I can tell, Friday nights are a good time to play the game.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, join them.
And that's it.
Yeah, and
I was gonna say that's American time, 6 p.m.
I was
think.
just gonna say.
Yeah.
So I guess 6 p.m. basically your time. I know I was talking to a few people on Twitter who are also streamers. Seems like it's most of the time is usually about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. So I know that's when I'll be starting. I think that's about 6 p.m. your time, Bob. So typically, if you're watching the podcast and you can factor in your time zone to those two time zones, that's when you're going to see the most populated times.
It's going to be 2 a.m. Central European time.
Yeah.
Just to give you guys perspective.
Yeah. So I know. I think I'll be doing that every Friday or every other Friday, depending on. We're not going to get too much into it right now, but we might be getting into some Mechwarrior Living Legends in the future. So Ian's face, Bob's face is lighting up there. So we might begin doing that maybe every other Friday. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. To close somewhat on MWO, as ever, at least with PGI, they somewhat want to keep everything very close to the bosom. They want to keep it secret. So we have absolutely no idea. An additional thought that came to mind, at least, is that as long as you have the servers up and open, there's probably some legal stuff in regards to Mechwarrior Online license that Microsoft or whoever is in charge of the IP can't just give it to another company and make MWO 2. So as long as they keep the servers running, there won't be that room for the competition to just make MWO 2. So that might be a reason. Otherwise, a big question mark is obviously, I think, how Mechwarrior 5 panned out for them financially, and obviously how their future DLCs, how much that will cost, how much they'll need to downsize for MW5 or whatever for the future. So it's, as ever, it's just all very much up in the air. But I think there's a lot of reasons for PGI to keep MWO just churning along, and who knows, maybe at some point they'll throw us a bone.
And I'm going to make a quick call out to the audience. Even if you're not content creator, even if you don't actively play anymore, you can still help the game by going to Reddit, going to the Facebook groups, going on Twitter, and kind of helping out new player. Like when someone asks a question, go ahead and answer it.
Yeah.
And that way you can spend a couple minutes every so often, and chances are good you're going to help someone and keep the game alive with them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Everyone says, "How do I play this game?" You just say, "Your build sucks. You suck. Leave it to me."
Don't be that person.
Don't be that guy. So what's next?
Next up, we have the Mechwarrior 5 developer update number 2. This one was, Going back to the Dev Update 1, which I had a lot of issues with the kind of format they've been doing on the NGNG platform, this time they've done their own thing on Discord, and I liked it a lot more structure-wise. It was a proper Dev Update. They had Alex Garden in there, which is a engineer,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
yeah, like just structure-wise, it was a lot better. They had 30 minutes of prepared topics that they talked about, and then they took questions related to the topic.
There's a lot less of Russ getting distracted by reading the chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
thank
be
God for
honest,
that.
it was still really, really slow. Most of the time, I was really tempted to skip forward, but since it's audio only, you can't really easily skip stuff.
Oh! If they uploaded the video later, and I like that in the picture, it actually has timestamps.
Yes,
Oh,
they have
okay.
timestamps.
Cool.
Really
Cool.
nice.
To tell you the truth, I actually didn't listen to it. It's not because I didn't have time; I just didn't want to. And I'm looking at the pat or the notes basically, and I'll rather just look at the notes than anything else right now. Basically, as far as like Mechwarrior 5.
Yeah.
It saves half an hour of your time.
Yeah, it saves half an hour of my time. But,
Yeah. So
doing that kind of
maybe
thing.
to save you guys some time, should I quickly just reiterate what
Yeah, go ahead.
I've
Yeah,
written
go for
down
it.
from it?
Yeah.
Okay. The main topic was modding tools and future DLC plans, so that's obviously what I talked about. Regarding modding tools, priority number 1 is the packaging and sharing of mods. So the next major update to the mod editor is going to feature a export function, and then the game is going to have an easy import function. Ideally, they want to do a in-game menu where you can activate and deactivate mods without having to go into the folder. But the Steam Workshop kind of thing is going to take months at least, because that is Epic doing. And given how Epic has developed so far, that's going to take a while. I'm going to guess it's going to be on Steam before Epic is done.
So exactly like what they did in Battletech, right? As far as turning off and on mods.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last patch, what I didn't notice, the last update was really big download-wise, because they had all these sound files in there, so those are now moddable. What they're looking at next is to get in new stuff rather than just expand on stuff that's already in the game. Dialogue options are going to be there, and what they've talked about a lot is exposing variables that are currently hidden. So basically, how Unreal Engine works is all the systems you design are private or protected by default, and you have to manually write a interface for people to set and read them. And all of this stuff was read-only for the most part, so they have to manually go in and make sure people can change values. Like what I talked about was the movement system for mechs. They had that kind of hidden, so people couldn't just go in and mod in engines, or the mech storage. And that's all the kind of stuff they're gonna get in. And Alex Garden, the guy who seems responsible for modding, seems to me like he's really caring about modding. Like he's active on the MW5 Discord. He's reading the suggestion and making a list of what they have to do improve.
I got a question
If
about
you look at the text file, the text document explaining how to mod the game, like that took a lot of effort. It was like 10 pages of patient explanation, images and illustrations. That is a lot of effort to put in. So yeah, they're certainly putting a lot of effort into modding. I applaud him for his efforts.
And speaking of documentation, that's also another major focus for the coming weeks.
Are we talking about dialogue options as far as changing the voices and the voiceovers and everything?
Yes, and also dialogue options in terms of campaign dialogue. So all the NPCs. So this, once they put the system in the editor, that opens up the possibility to really easy do story mods and do like a custom story.
That's actually cool. I like that.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome actually. That's cool.
Also something that I didn't realize, but that's already out there, and I just looked at it. AI decision trees are actually exposed, so you can mod AI. It's just some deeper stuff that they're still having to do for it.
Okay.
One thing that's a major bummer, so-called code mods are still not technically possible. So in the game, you have kind of the asset folder where you have stuff like models, sounds, textures, animations, all that stuff. And then you have usually one giant as file with all the code. And that's just one file that's kind of hidden and you need to unpack in order to modify it. And they won't provide the option to modify that code base anytime soon, but they're looking into it.
Okay.
Just seems that their priority is definitely asset focused. Another thing they're looking into is virtual reality, but also that's just they're keeping it in mind. It's going to be far off. And that's all the thing for the mod editor. You guys have anything to add?
I
No, I
like some
didn't.
of the stuff that they're doing. Dialogue options was one of my kind of pet peeves and stuff like that. But as far as like different voices, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be actually really neat to do stories. Kind of like I'm more of a lore type person, so looking at that, going, oh yeah, I could do this really cool story about this, and so that's cool. I like that. That's great actually. That's my favorite part about the whole thing.
I mean, there's a lot of particulars, and it's all a question of how it actually pans out and how it will pan out in the future. So it's all just, yeah, it's good to hear that you're continuing to work on mod support. Obviously, for me, the more interesting question was just sort of, what issues do you see with the game, and what are you actually fixing, or just what issues are in the game that you allow modders to fix for you. And for the most part, it's I was like, yep, okay, more modding, got it, moving on.
Yep. Regarding modding, though, a couple of things that I've seen, like behind the scenes kind of stuff. Apparently, there's someone working on a melee mod for Mechwarrior 5, which looks absolutely phenomenal. I have no idea how it's going to be balanced, but it's probably going to be really fun. And I've also heard rumors that someone is modding in the Union class dropship. So there's some cool stuff hopefully coming if they can pull it off.
I mean, just the Leopard dropship, like I was going over like in my videos, and the Leopard dropship's freaking huge. And I could just imagine how big the Union dropship with 12 mechs in there, plus all of the engine parts and everything else. That's be freaking amazingly cool. I can't wait for that. If that's true, that'd be awesome.
I want only one thing in the mods: the slowpoke.
The slowpoke.
Yes, wait for the slowpoke. Someday they'll mod it in Biter, and then we'll go out and get it.
Yeah.
Someday I'm actually going to export it. Going on to the DLC stuff. This is like typical Russ. Another direct quote. I want to keep a lot of our plans secret. This is not out of context. That is literally a line he said.
Really?
Oh my God. I want to keep a lot of our plans secret.
That's a great dev update. Keep it all.
That is. I'm just gonna say, great job, Russ. You've definitely fulfilled that part of your plan so far.
Yes.
But they did talk about some stuff. The idea behind that, so modders don't do stuff that's going to be a DLC anyway. The first DLC is going to be in April, so that's nice with a time frame. But it's going to be focused around career mode, like think the Battletech career mode without any campaign missions. A lot more open. You just dive in and do whatever you want. And what I find weird about this, Battletech did it as a free update. And was that the career mode would be the groundwork for everything else they want to build, kind of. So I'm kind of wondering, why would you put the career mode in a DLC then, if it's supposed to be groundwork? Don't you kind of want everyone to have that groundwork? So, yeah, we know the first DLC is going to feature one career mode. They talk about war zones. I'm going to assume they're going to have some kind of randomized or maybe even dynamic war zone reputation system. But we don't know much. Just career mode.
That's basically it. DLC, career mode. You'll have to pay for it now.
So the same thing they did for Battletech, right?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Battletech
career
mode for free.
Oh no, basically what I'm talking about, like career mode itself.
Same thing, but you pay for it.
Yeah. Okay. Just checking.
That's at least the impression we get. Who knows what he's keeping silent? But yeah, they're working on a career mode, just making sure you don't. I do like the idea. At least you always have to do I think the tutorial missions when starting a campaign. There's no way of skipping it. So skipping those kind of things, not having to go through all the story hoops, is nice. But all you're doing is stripping features out of the game. Why am I paying you for that? Modders can do that.
He's 100% going the EA road there.
So we have suspect that it's going to be a paid DLC, correct? And not a free one?
It's definitely a paid DLC.
Wow.
Yeah, they're making. He does, I think, talk about was it a mixture of free content and paid
Yep.
stuff. I think.
Okay.
They're doing something similar to the Paradox system, where they have a major free update accompanied by a major DLC. But he's already quickly downplayed the free update, saying it's going to have a small feature list, and most of the features are going to be DLC for all those updates. So again, we can't judge it. We're going to have to wait for the patch notes for April and see how much is free and how much you have to pay for.
I got
The only other major
reservations
thing
about
you-
that.
The other major thing he touches on was just, or at least the thing he mentioned is just, more mechs and stuff like that. I think he also mentioned a fair number of mechs aren't in the game because obviously they don't have things like mask and whatnot, and I think they're planning to implement that. And once it's implemented, they can bring those mechs forward into the game. So I imagine something like, in the future, you could have a free DLC as Phoenix Hawk, a bit large might like that, and there would be the mask Phoenix Hawk as well.
Wow.
To get that, you must pay $5.
I mean, do you think
That
it'll be
would
like
be-
$19.99 or
That would be a kind
$9.99?
of
20
weird
bucks for one mech?
system.
I know it's a silly system. I imagine the whole Phoenix Hawk could just be free DLC.
Well, then
And
just
I really hope they don't just do the whole Phoenix hype, but they do a whole suit of mechs if they
Yeah.
want to sell as DLC. Because I'm not spending money on a single mech anymore. Sorry, PGR.
yeah.
This is back to being mech packs and then staggering out the
Yes.
money for mech packs. And that's not
Especially since with the modding support, we don't really have reasons to buy mech packs.
don't have the money be all nothing but mech packs.
Like especially, of course, obviously the official mech pack is going to be more refined, more stable than anything a modder produces.
Yep.
But also money.
Yes.
I just hope it doesn't turn out to be like the Creation Club for Fallout 4, if you guys know about that.
Oh
Yes.
god.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I kind of hope it doesn't become. God, man, I don't know. I don't know.
And the mod stuff is, fine stuff to cover in the AMA, but then this whole future DLC thing does, at least the way he presents it, does not inspire confidence. And I'm trying to think in my mind, at least, if I'm comparing them with Harebrained Schemes. Harebrained Schemes, of course, we would hear, oh, we're going to make a DLC called Heavy Metal. And it's not like they told us much of the details about that for quite some time either.
I mean, we
But
even
the
had
thing
Mitch on there
was-
too, saying, "Oh, I can't say anything about it." We're like, "Please tell us." Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not like one company is completely open and one company is being completely secretive. It's just the benefit with Harebrained Schemes is when they came out with if they come out with a name or a title, so Flashpoint, Heavy Metal, etc., they're playing into a theme and they're giving you something that you're really selling you. With just Russ coming out and saying we're going to give you career mode and there's going to be more mechs, it's like he's giving us the bare minimum of interesting hooks for future DLC. Future DLC, you usually sort of want to say, the obvious example would just be, oh, we're going to have clans, but instead you can have stuff, just like the Hellhounds, or we're going to have a new mini campaign, something like that. Those are usually the better ways to hook your audience and make them interested to pay money in the future. Whereas saying, I'm going to make you pay for something that Harebrained Schemes gave for free is not a great start.
No, it's not.
It doesn't drive confidence in what he's doing and to actually increase sales. Yeah, that's God, man. That thing better like curl my toes, man. Especially if it's gonna be $19.99 or something like that.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like with Battletech, we kind of knew they would do 3 major DLCs. Knowing their price model, knowing that they're part of Paradox, we kind of expected the price and the features that we're gonna have. But with PGI, it's a total wildcard.
Yeah,
it could be a $5 DLC for like Mega 2, or it could be a $60 DLC that gives us the whole clan invasion. We don't know, and that's a scary thing. We don't know if they're just gonna overprice stuff, if they're gonna do a crap ton of small DLCs, if they're gonna focus on big expansions. We don't know anything. And even if they want to keep the content secret, okay, but I would really like to know, like, we're gonna give you a expansion that's going to be worth $20, and it's going to feature that like amount of stuff.
Mhm.
Like, not give us details on what it's going to feature, but at least give us a price, so we can kind of guess.
Did I miss it? But did they say what time frame they were talking about on doing these releases?
They only
He
said the
did.
first DLC is going to be April.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no more in April then, or around that time, hopefully.
Yeah, so we're probably going to
Yeah.
learn in May what the DLC has when we can
Yeah.
play it.
All right.
I think as ever we just PGI isn't the best at PR,
Yeah.
and in some ways it's just if you said, okay, we're not totally sure how the DLC is going to pan out, we're planning to launch it on April, thus far we're looking towards making basically career mode. If you said that, people are like, oh, okay, career mode, stripping out the campaign stuff, that makes sense. But with him saying paying or implying paying for career mode, that's not working in your favor. If you actually keep it more vague and keep it even more to your bosom, Russ, then there's even less for us to be upset about.
On Battletech, was career mode free? I forgot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
This was,
yes.
It was the free update with the
See,
Flashpoint.
that's
DLC.
gonna work against him though, because that's my cats. That's gonna work. That's gonna work against him though, because Battletech did have it for free, and so that point's gonna come up.
It's Russ busting
It
in
will.
through your window.
Yeah.
if you go on Reddit, it already came up a bunch.
Oh really? Oh, okay.
It did.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny to read the Reddit speculations on the pricing and all that stuff. Like,
God.
we know Reddit is mostly pretty negative when it comes to this kind of stuff, but
Sometimes it can be pretty humorous though. When
Welcome
Yeah,
to
and it's-
Career Mode, MechWarrior 5's Season Pass, where you play a career of a mech warrior. Play every day for extra bonuses. Like we're gonna put a thing in the mech inside your dropship.
And the scariest thing is when you read those kind of like sarcastic comments, and you're like, I'm not completely convinced this is sarcastic. This is something I could see PGI do, and that's just.
I don't know
scary.
what the Okay, this is my rant time. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Basically, like I love PGI. I think it's cool they actually came out with MechWarrior Online, MechWarrior 5, and everything. But what the hell, dude? Their PR system, like, we're just talking about this. This is just four guys in our rooms talking on a podcast, and we're sitting there. Your PR sucks. I mean, God damn.
Think about your heart, Bob. Stay calm.
I know. I gotta watch your blood pressure.
Don't blow your heart out.
But the whole thing is though, like, I mean, these are simple things that they could have done to make this game so much better. And yet, I mean, they're like the laughingstock of MechWarrior. I mean, literally. I mean, you look at all different companies that actually had the franchise. They are the laughingstock of MechWarrior. And it's sad. It's really sad that they have a gold mine of people that are, I mean, the whales. Like, look at MechWarrior, like, online about 5 years ago. They had people buying $150 mechs, or 6 years ago.
Buying $500
$500 mechs.
They sold out on those.
This is a gold mine that they totally effed up. I mean, they did some good things. Don't get me wrong, but the whole thing is though they effed up a complete franchise that could have been so much better, and they just and we're just looking at it. I mean, go ahead, go. I'm done.
That's cool.
I'm done.
Bob.
It sucks. It sucks. Really, it sucks. Big. God, I gotta stop.
I think if we just had more details to go off of, we wouldn't be in this quandary of what are we doing? Because no one ever knows anymore.
Yes.
I think the reception for all PGI's products, at least as far as it goes, is MWO, Solaris, MechWarrior 5, and whatnot. Is they're not necessarily games that you're just like, oh my gosh, they're so great, it's amazing, and you just got to show everyone. They're all right. They're usually okay. There's a lot of flaws, but there's also a fair number of things that I like about them. And it sort of feels to me like the talent pools they have available, they're able to do an okay job. That's always sort of my feeling with PGI. They're always okay. And so, in a way, I think we mentioned this last week, with Hello Games' strategy was that if they open their mouths and talk to the community, all we sort of hear is like, oh, the way they talk, all we hear is the negatives, because they're not very good at amping up, the positives. So, because in the end, all they've got as positives is the game is going to be okay. Like this DLC, my guesstimation would be it's okay. It's not going to be terrible. It'll just be okay. And that's why when he's sort of mentioning it, it's career mode, and we're going to be doing some other bits and pieces. It's probably going to be okay. It's probably going to be, career mode without all the extra bits and pieces, and they're going to, make basically, do more Warzone stuff and make it a bit more interactive. And it's like, yeah, this is an okay amount for the price offered, but it's sort of like with Hello Games. If they just don't speak to us sometimes, it might just be better if they just give us their okay content. And that way we don't have to just hear about all the things all the problems we know are coming around the corner, and they don't phrase it terribly. So, I mean, I complained about them being secretive, but in the end, if they open their mouths and make tits up every single time, they might as well just never talk to us, and suddenly just new okay stuff comes out.
But that boat already sailed already, though. That's the main issue, though. That boat already sailed. So like every time we hear anything, we're like, okay, well, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And guess what? It does happen. And that's a major thing that, like, I mean, you make a good point. Shut up. Don't say anything. Make your game. Enjoy the game.
I honestly don't think shutting up at this point would really help their communication. Because at this point, we've come to expect certain things of Pioneer games. And if they just shut up at this point, we know something's wrong. We can still guess what's going on. We still have all of our issues. I think the only way they have out of this is to open up. And even if that's going to take them time, even if that's going to mean they have to rehire Tina as a full-time just PR, I think that's the only way they can really get out of this and try to rebuild some of the trust they've lost in all those years. And even then, I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think also, it just comes down to the history of us seeing what they've done prior years, really, and I think one of the things that, is that I'm kind of on the side of they should just not say anything, because right now when they do come out and they do talk and they are open, they're not fully open. I mean, now, of course, it might change if they are fully open, but every single time they do a live stream or a dev update, it's that, we have this idea. We're going to give you like a teeny bit of information, but mainly everything else you don't want to know about it, or mainly we're not going to tell you about it, but also it's going to be out in 2 months from now, which is not a big time frame. So it's one of those things whenever you hear that there's going to be an update, it's going to be out in about 2 or 3 months, and they're holding it back. It really does make you think: is there something not completed that they're not enthusiastic for? That's where our main concern comes from.
Yeah, I think it's kind of comes down to Russ's mindset about this. I feel like he's excited for his own plans, and he wants to hype them up and surprise us. But we don't want to be surprised anymore, because he can't surprise us really with any positive time.
The one way of surprising us is to not say anything, and then when the update and then when the when the DLC is ready, you say, "Hey everyone, DLC is ready yesterday. Go get it."
Yeah.
Like that's a surprise.
The boat's already sailed
done properly. Yeah, like basically if you say, "Hey, we've done this thing, we just released it like 5 minutes ago," that will cause the storm of like, "Oh my god, there's a thing. What is this?" And then it flocks.
Like my favorite thing PGI has done, like, is when with Solaris, they actually have something to show us when they finally unveil it. And they do a really good unveil trailer. And it's a reasonable timescale until it actually comes out. So I think they don't have the Russ, and they don't have anybody on staff who is really that good at selling good PR. opening up means they're putting a lot of time and effort and possibly money into hiring somebody who really has the talent at selling and explaining what's going on. And in the simple answer is just, why put more effort into something you suck at? Put less effort into that. Play. Don't play into your weakness. Just do the Hello Games thing, which is go quiet and just give people what they do have a customer base, and people come to PGI games. They still keep buying their games because they do produce stuff that's okay. So just keep your mouth shut, produce the thing that's okay, and we're like, oh hey, this is all right. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was
But-
bad, Bob. That was bad, Bob.
No,
there.
that's cool. But
Yeah.
I think we're all with you,
Happens.
Bob. We'll probably have to keep moving on here because we
Yeah,
are
let's
now
keep on moving on.
Yeah.
almost an hour tops here. But I think just to move on, just PGI, just don't give us a tidbit and say that we're not going to tell you what it is. It just does not look good.
Yeah.
And final thing from the dev update, there is 100% not going to be a migration from your Epic Games account to your Steam account.
Okay.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
And I mean, that's something we kind of knew. I'm just wondering, again, lack of information. Is there going to be cross-play between Epic and Steam? Because currently it works via the Epic Games friend list. Are they going to do like proper IP peer-to-peer at some point? We don't know. All we know is if you want to switch to Steam, you have to rebuy the game. And that's going to be my main reason to not buy any DLCs within the next year, because I fully plan on switching to Steam. I'm at the point where I regret keeping.
Oh no, Epic sucks. Don't get me wrong. It does suck. Epic sucks.
They're probably not going to know until
Yeah.
like almost a half a year from now. Probably.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's probably some sort of back legal bullshit that we're not going to know about until later on.
My gut feeling is simply they're a small team. They're going to focus on the here and now
Yeah,
and
yeah.
staying afloat. So make the DLC for Epic Game Store, and eventually, when it's available on Steam, they might get around to it and slowly figure things out. But that's so far down the line that they aren't really going to put much thought to it.
Yeah, it's just, again, something that we have to keep in mind now, because do we buy the DLC in April on Epic Games Store if perhaps I have to switch over to Steam? Can I even switch over to Steam when, like, Bob is still on Epic Games Store and I want to play with him?
Yeah,
and
that's a
all
good
those
point.
questions that are kind of, I personally think it's going to impact the sales number of their DLCs a fair bit.
Well, if
that's why I would kind of hope them to look into this right now and just give us a quick update. Crossplay, yes, no.
If that happens though, like let's say Lars and Ian are on the Steam store and I still have like Epic, and I can't play with you guys, that would really piss me off. That would just be like the nail in the coffin type thing, because I'll be sitting there going, everyone else went to Steam, or like everyone else is on Epic, I went to Steam or whatever. That would put the nail in the coffin like right there for me, because that's just crappy. But I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. And
yeah.
As just like with Battletech, the question is, at least even more so with a co-op game, you're going to have people who have premium content, people who don't have premium content trying to join each other's games. How walled off is this garden that you're creating with the paid content? We just don't know.
Yeah.
So I think without speculating too much and getting more rage filled, let's look at MekTek. What do we got? What is this MekTek thing?
MekTek. So a couple weeks ago, there were some rumors popping up that MekTek might return. For those of you who are not familiar with the history of the Battletech franchise, Mechwarrior 4 was developed under the Microsoft license. And they did Mechwarrior 4, they did 3 games. The real one was Mercenaries, that everyone played because it had the biggest selection of mechs, and it had a really stable and fun multiplayer. And eventually Microsoft just stopped kind of doing it, and they sold the game they gave the distribution rights to the MekTek people. And they decided to offer MekTek completely for free, which is phenomenal. Mechwarrior for Mercenaries is a kind of linear Mercenaries game, but it's really good and really fun to play. And I mean, for free, it's one heck of a game. And they also then did a bunch of mech packs and expanded the number of mechs from like 30 or 40-ish up to 120-ish. So they like insane amount of content for the game, everything completely for free. And it seems they popped back up. There's a MekTek Discord that features some of the names I recognize, but I frankly don't have any way of confirming or confirming whether it's the real deal. So, bunch of rumors. It looks legit. With a bit of luck, MekTek might actually return, and they might return to Mechwarrior 4. They announced on the Discord something called the MW5. And if you guys are familiar with Mechwarrior 4 Mercenaries, MechTek 3.1 was the last release we've gotten with a crap ton of content. And they teased a MechTek 4 that featured, again, new mechs, directional jump jet systems, space-ish battles, proper dropship being part of your battles and stuff like that. Bunch of cool features. And I'm just hoping that MekTek 5, if this is a real deal, we're going to get a MekTek 5 at some point, featuring all of those really cool things.
That's cool.
I'm assuming Bob is going to put the links in the description. There's a Discord thing. Go ahead and join and see for yourself and judge for yourself. And in the coming weeks, we're hopefully going to get some news as to whether it's back. Quick note, the Mechwarrior 4 Mech Match, which is their matchmaking system to do the Mechwarrior 4 multiplayer. That one is definitely back online, so we can do Mechwarrior 4 Mercenaries multiplayer matches again.
Oh, cool. Really cool. Okay. Next up is the Battletech Wave 1 has now closed. So if you haven't done that, you're getting your stuff in, November, I think it is, or September?
March.
March. No, basically Wave 2.
Wave 2, yeah.
Yeah.
So Wave 1 is closed, shipping date, no updates, so presumably still late March. They said something. Not going too far off topic, but there's obviously the situation in China right now where a lot of factories shut down. It seems that the Battletech Kickstarter is not going to be heavily impacted by that, and they're still thinking that March is going to be the shipping date. So expect your Wave 1 content fairly soon.
Cool.
And if you missed out and stuff, you can still get the Wave 2 stuff.
Yeah,
and
cool.
Just go ahead and buy Battletech stuff. Helps the franchise.
I actually can't wait for that stuff. It's be pretty cool. I still want to get the power armor. Those models look amazing. Oh my god, they look so nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, I think we've got Mechwarrior interviews for next week. We'll be having the Bird Mech, I believe his name is. Bird Mech. Bird Mech. He's the PR guy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Next week, we're going to interview some of the Mechwarrior Living Legends team. We're going to have their PR person and at least one of the devs.
Yeah.
So, this is just a quick announcement to you guys. If you have questions, go ahead and send them to us. I'm just going to volunteer and say twitter.com/iandroseri. Go ahead and send me your questions. I'm going to collect all of them for you. And next week we're going to interview them. And it's going to be really fun.
And plus also I'll leave a link to Ian's Twitter page. And then also if you want, you could also put them under the comments down below as well too. And for Mechwarrior Living Legends.
Yeah, and I would say for those of you who have not played the game or have not looked into it, we did do a live stream last night with Bird Thing and a few others. It was a lot of fun, and we'll probably be jumping back into the game not this Friday, but the Friday coming up before we do the interview on Saturday. So just if you want to keep an eye out for that on your end, guys, if you want to go ahead and watch it, we'll be there in 2 Fridays from now.
Yeah.
The game is free, so you can also play in the same servers as us.
You could join in.
Should I give a quick rundown what the game actually is?
What's that?
So what is Living Legends is what you're saying.
What is Living Legends?
The best way I could describe it is that if you played old school Counter-Strike, it's that with mechs and vehicles and like aerospace.
I would say it's like you take Crisis 1 and you totally refit it to be like Battlefield 1942.
There you go. That's fine too.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. You know there really is no main storyline. It's just PvP. The matches are like an hour long.
And
you just got
very long conquest matches. Yeah.
It's still fun though. Still a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the really quickest one on is Crisis 1 is a really old game, and for the Crisis multiplayer, which was standalone, a team called Wandering Samurai developed a game called MWLL Legends, which was basically a mod. And nowadays, it's still in development. It's been in development for 10 years. It has a install that's really easy to install. It's really easy to get running, even on Windows 10 and high resolutions, so works really well. And it's basically round-based Battletech. Like, think you go into a server and you start out with a light mech and you slowly work your way up to heavier mechs, and after 70, 80, 90 minutes, whatever the length of the server is set to, the game ends, everything resets, you start fresh.
Yeah, but there are vehicles and infantry and
aerospace fighters and
So
MWLs and proper artillery that you have to indirectly aim, and laser guided bombs and tech guided aero force and a proper radar system, and I'm just gonna
everything we wanted. It just took us a long time to discover it, and for being Crisis 1, it is still very pretty.
Yeah, so it still looks amazing.
It was good.
Well, it is Crisis.
So the whole meme is, can I play Crisis? Crisis 1, it plays and still looks good to
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. A lot of tactics. Very tactical type game as well, too. You just don't go out there and go and destroy things. You basically actually have to use tactics as far as like who you're attacking and what you're doing and everything else. So it was a fun game. I had a blast, actually.
Well, it's like I said, it's like Battlefield 1942. If anyone played that game back in the day, it's lots of conquest flags around the map. People die, they lose tickets, and if you have more flags than the opponent, they lose tickets. And that you have to be very careful where you go and position yourself and all your resources. It's very strategic / tactical when there's lots of players on the field, and it also takes you about 5 minutes to go to any flag.
Yeah.
I don't mind it though. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be talking about MWLL Legends next week in detail. If you do want to check out the game, again, check the link collection in the various descriptions. We're probably going to include both the links to the download page as well as some of the documentation links, because they have a really good amount of documentation. They even have a full guide if you're coming from Mechwarrior Online, what you need to pay attention to when going into MWLL Legends. So a bunch of great resources, and just give it a try. Please do. And if you want to have the best experience, I highly recommend weekends and Friday nights. That's when the server population is very healthy.
And actually, today before we did our recording, I actually just changed up my key layout to be the same as Mechwarrior Online. Game is very easy to play now.
Okay, good. Because I was so confused with all the buttons.
It's very easy to map the keys, and I was able to map it the way I wanted it, and now it's very very comfy.
Unless you want to play joystick, because Crisis is famous for not having joystick support.
Or controller support. That's there too.
Well, controller support is there. You can easily play it on an Xbox controller. You just can't play it on a joystick, which means if you want to play joystick, you have to map your joystick to a virtual Xbox controller, which then maps into the game. And it's really difficult.
So it's a pain in the ass, and don't do it. Anyway. All right, guys. I think this might be it for, what is this, episode 113?
Correct.
Yes, 113,000.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching the First Second Podcast, episode 113,000. I mean, Lars was doing the ending anyway, but we have our usual hosts: me, the biter, the unicorn who is no longer a unicorn, Ian.
Bye-bye. Got beheaded.
Oh, Bob, who is not being distracted by cats.
Hello.
Lars.
And Lars, who's slinking down in his chair.
And no more Lars. He's disappearing.
He's gone.
Right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.